Come here. Come here. Sit. Sit. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good morning. It is morning here. We are out in the Homestead garden. Listen. You hear that? I'm going to show you what that is in a little bit. Today's a really exciting day. I have a lot of very exciting things happening here on the homestead, and it is a brisk morning. It is currently 56 degrees, so wearing a sweatshirt. Had to send the kids off with a jacket this morning. I took the day off of work because of what's happening over there, and my husband and I are alternating making sure we're here. It's not a huge piece of machinery, but it is a piece of machinery, and I'll show you that in a little bit. In the meantime, I'm here in the garden. I just went into my husband's garden, which, by the way, is like ridiculously overloaded by weeds. I mean, this is how my garden looked last year. I mean, this is just how our land is. It has been kind of wild and raw and untamed for probably 20 years. No one has really done anything with it until we bought it, and then we've been farming, playing, etc., mowing. So I harvested the rest of the tomatoes and eggplant from his. I'll show you that. Got a really good little basket's worth. Marley's eating a piece of wood. But in the garden here today, I have peppers to harvest. I have, I think, an eggplant and basil. I have my basil. I mean, everything here in the garden has done so well this year. I can't wait to show you what's going on in here. But I have a couple things I want to get, and then we're going to go down into the woods and do something exciting also. So we're going to start with getting some peppers. I've got bell peppers, Ajvarsky peppers, hot peppers. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. I actually have a lot of peppers at home in the fridge, so I'm only going to harvest the ones that are either really big or red and beautiful and kind of ready, and I'll leave the rest. But tonight we're having Italian sausage stuffed peppers with some sauteed zucchini, all from the garden except for the sausage, and just going to get a couple for tonight. I've got this little Tabasco pepper plant. I'm just going to sit here and put some in my basket. While we chit-chat a bit, it's starting to warm up actually. I love picking these. They are so small and they can be rather tedious, but they are really good to just dry. I love to just put them on my dehydrator tray. I don't even have to run the dehydrator. I can just put them on the tray and let them dry as is. Take their good old sweet time. And then I bottle them up and I save them as dried peppers to either crush in a food processor, like having crushed red pepper, or if I'm ever fermenting something and I just want a little heat, especially in the winter, I can just throw some of these dried peppers in. Marley, we're not gonna dig. We're not digging, Just relax. We're not digging. Stop. God bless you. What you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? So yesterday I took a bunch of things to enter into our North Carolina State Fair, and my daughter went with me, and we entered in some canned items, some freeze-dried and dehydrated items, fermented pickles. Oh gosh, Marley. Just lay down, lay down. Lay down. Dude, stop. You are making a mess. And while we were there, we got to see the other things that people were bringing in for entry, which I think actually was pretty interesting, possibly more fun than the actual fair. And we saw a pumpkin that someone had entered as the biggest pumpkin. I have no idea how much it weighed, but it was on a pallet, and it was the size of a pallet, like width-wise, and it was probably close to 3.5 feet tall, because my daughter stood next to it. And then they had like those big industrial scales next to it. I didn't know how much it weighed. I didn't see that, but that was really cool to see. The other thing I saw as we were walking around, like we saw different types of winter squashes. We saw some eggplant that people entered, like the agricultural part of it. I saw someone had entered dried sunflower heads, like the mammoth heads. And guys, I have one here that is probably a foot across. You see that one? I mean, that one is huge. And so as we were like walking around, you know, looking at everything, my daughter was like, "Mommy, you should have entered the sunflower heads." And I was like, I should have. I didn't even know that was a category. But it was just so fun to see. Today, oh, and we entered in some honey from our bees that I extracted in July, and mead, which is like a honey wine. It's a fermented honey wine alcoholic drink. I made that for the very first time this past spring. Never before in my life, but it was so good, I'm making it again. And we'll see how that does. But today is the judging. So I entered everything yesterday, so it would be fresh and ready. And today is the judging. So I am excited to see what happens. I've only ever won something at the state fair once before. And I've only entered, this is maybe my 3rd year entering. But it was either last year or the year before I won, I think it was 2nd place for dehydrated shiitake mushrooms that I had grown. And that was kind of fun because it was fairly easy to do. So I kind of upped the ante this year and see how it goes. All right, I think I'm good with these peppers. I think I got enough. Let me show you some other things in the garden. I just have a couple more things to pick, and then we'll go see what's going on down there. Okay, so let me show you the tunnel. I'll go in it first. And look at that beautiful tromboncino. It's either a tromboncino or a rampiante. And then I've got some baby butternuts coming. There's 2 baby butternuts on those flowers right there. These are all of those Cherokee, I think it's Cherokee Trail of Tears black beans. They start out green and then they go to more of a purple color as they get older. And then eventually they kind of dry out in the pod, and the pod gets a little kind of wilty and crinkly, and then you know the beans are dry inside. So those are all gonna stay there until probably the frost, as long as possible, and get them all dried out. But they are looking great. That's my first time growing black beans, and I'm really excited about them. But the squashes are doing well. So I've got some butternut, some tromboncino, and then I do have another baby pumpkin coming, which is very exciting. And a happy little bee in there. And then in our Ole garden raised bed that we planted probably about a month, maybe 5 weeks ago now, we've got broccoli, cauliflower, I put some Swiss chard in here, there's beets, there's cabbage. This all looks so good. I just need to water it today. It is a little dry, but that looks good. That's all the peppers that we were just in. Here's one of my basils, the explosion of basil. I'm gonna harvest a bunch of this today And I'll show you how I make my basil salt in a different video, but I will show you that. The marigolds have also exploded. I'm actually considering taking some of those blooms maybe next time I'm here and dehydrating them and using them for soap making this winter. Okay, and then we've got lemongrass. I have 2 lemongrasses. There was one up near the other basil too. They are also just bonkers, and I may trim that down because it's just gonna keep growing. But I've got my toothache plant also doing well. This is plantain that I started from seed, and that is yarrow. Those are gonna go in the ground at some point very soon. There's another toothache plant. So you may be wondering, what is toothache? And let's do one. You pick off the little flower. It's really sunny, so forgive me, I had to put my kids' sunglasses on. But it has like a bullseye on the top. This is called the bullseye toothache. And it's meant just for that. It actually like numbs your mouth or your gums. It doesn't last more than maybe, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. And it's not like Novocaine, but it's such a cool feeling and kind of refreshing. And I have a bunch of these dehydrated at home from previous years, but I love to grow them every year. I think the technical name is Spilanthus, S-P-I-L-A-N-T-H-E-S, and they are just so fun. So I take one side and then I move it to the other. You're not swallowing it. And then you gotta spit out all the seeds. So this is a great YouTube video. Spit them out where you want them to grow. But that's it. And now my mouth has like this numb, tingly feeling, and it is so fun. It's just fun to grow, but it is a medicinal herbal plant. The lemon balm is also looking fantastic. More basil right there. And this is an echinacea plant, coneflower plant, that I started from seed, and it's finally got its first bloom with a beautiful bumblebee on top. It's so pretty. These are more eggplant, peppers. They're still got a little ways to go before they get anything producible. But this is my indestructible zucchini plant. I can't even believe how big it is and how much it has outputted, this one plant for us. And it's so crazy because I got a baby zucchini coming right there on the end of that flower, and 2 or 3 more right here. So there's one, and then there's a couple coming in right there. So provided the weather holds out, I am still gonna get some fresh zucchini in October. This is an artichoke plant that is gonna hopefully make it through the winter. It looks pretty good. And this is borage, B-O-R-A-G-E. So I had one plant that kind of died and fell over. And these are all baby seedlings that came from that one plant. I expect these will die over the winter, but maybe one of them will flower again, put more seeds in the ground so it'll come back up in the spring. But I've been leaving that because it's just such a beautiful plant. I think I'm actually going to harvest some lemongrass because maybe I'll make some sort of Thai dish this week. I'm going to get it back here, parts that are touching the electric fence. Smells so good. Oh my goodness. So when you're, I promise we're going to go over there next. When you're harvesting and growing lemongrass, it's the insides of the stems here. And so what I'll basically do, I'm going to cut off some of this grass down here, but I will take my chicken stock and infuse it with the lemongrass, and that's what gives it that flavor, and then discard it before I make my curry or whatever it is. Red curry is one of my favorite Thai food. Thai food dishes. So I'm thinking that's what I might do. just gonna cut right here. Leave that on the ground for some mulch. I'll take this home. All right, we're done in the garden. Let's go see what's going on. So I can already see a difference just from what he's done, but this is a mulcher. That's what I believe it's called. That's what we're calling it. And we're paying for him for 8 hours today, and he is clearing out most of the front here, not all the way to the road. That's the main road that you drive off of into our property, and we don't want to go that far. We want to have a little bit of a buffer, right, for privacy reasons, but we're going maybe about 2/3 of the way to the road, and we are making as much open space as we can. And so what the mulcher is designed to do is to really get, well, any kind of brush and weeds, right, any kind of tall, kind of brushy, bushy types of weeds, but also really small trees. It can kind of roll right over the trees and mulch them up. So when you hear that noise, he's mulching down a tree. And the goal is that this is going to be our orchard. And so I have probably, I don't know, 10 to 12 fruit trees. They're not even all here. I have some at home. We have pear, persimmon, cherry, apple, peach, fig. That might be it. Marley's got a twig or a tree branch. And there's a couple more I want to get, but there's just no point in buying them right now. And the ones we have, I have bought them probably 3 years ago, close to when we purchased the land, because that was the whole goal, is like, whenever you have a piece of property, the first thing you want to do is get your fruit trees in, because they can take years to really establish. And they need to go in the ground. They've been in the pots way longer than they should have been. They're surviving, but they need to get in the ground. And so my husband is in agreement, he was on board. So this is going to be a lot of an orchard. Now there are some big trees in here we can't get out today. The mulcher's doing what he can do, right? That actually really helps. And then we're just going to have some of the big trees taken out. Any kind of conifers, pine or holly, they are going to go. We're going to keep oak and tulip poplar and any other hardwoods right now that we see, because they're just beneficial for the bees, and in general we like to have hardwoods over the softwood, especially since our house is going to go around here. We don't want any softwood trees around the house. But there's like a huge pine right there behind me, covered in poison ivy. That one will go. But for right now, we're opening it up with a mulcher to get our orchard going. Okay, so we'll come back and check his progress. I was just standing here watching him for a little bit. I mean, there's so much has already opened up. It looks so much better. There are still quite a bit of trees, some much larger than others. I think maybe my husband and I will try to take some trees out that we can manage, especially if they're kind of like, I like to usually say 8, no bigger than 8 inches in diameter. I mean, even 8's kind of big. Maybe 5 or 6 inch in diameter oak trees. I will take those. We will cut those down, and I will use those for growing some more shiitake logs. When it gets loud like that, that means he's got a decent sized tree. But yeah, because I haven't inoculated any shiitake logs in probably close to 1.5 years. And I have some logs still at home that are still producing amazingly, but it's time to get some more inoculated. So I'll probably do that this winter with some of the trees that we can cut down. So I am now in the woods walking through our little trail. I have another really exciting thing today, I say it's exciting. It's exciting for me. So last year in 2022, I'll find the video and I'll link it above. It was a video in where I was working on my bees, and let me just stop for a moment here. And that was when I had a hole in my veil. If you have not seen that, you have to watch it, because that is when the bees got into my bee suit and in my jacket, and it was all, I mean, they got me. I had over 100 stings that day. I walked half a mile down the main road because all I could do was walk, just to kind of keep getting the bees off me and walking as far away from the hive as I could. I can laugh about it now. It was incredible. And I am not allergic to bee stings. So honestly, I would say by the next morning, I was back to normal. There was nothing. So I don't have an issue with bee stings, and I realized that that story could really amp somebody up if they're allergic. That could really kind of give them some heart palpitations. And I would walk through the woods where the mulcher is, like just brushing like a deer or a bear, like brushing my entire body against the trees and the leaves and the brush and the branches, just to get the bees off of me. I didn't even care if they died. I was trying to just get them off me because they were in the most attack mode I had ever had. Anyway, that is on video, most of it. After that, because the whole point was me to work on the bees and do this other thing. And after I finally got myself composed, I never even took my bee suit off. I came back here into the woods and I planted ramp seeds. I had bought some ramp seeds. So this is about a year ago now. And ramps, if you are unfamiliar, they are like wild leeks, wild onions. And they only grow for a few weeks in the spring. They are one of the, just like morels, they are a widely sought after foraged food. It's hard to, I think, grow them commercially. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's rarely done, I guess. And so when you plant the seeds, it can take years for them to really grow in enough way you can actually harvest. And when you harvest, you have to harvest responsibly so that you're not depleting the ramp plant. And so I planted the seeds a year ago. Well, they can take 2 winters to actually germinate. They need that cold stratification. They need a really long cold stratification. And so this year, I bought bulbs. I bought seeds and bulbs. I bought 100 ramp bulbs, and I'll link the farm. It's Gates Hill Farm out of Vermont, Franklin, Vermont. And it was about $100. But it's something that I'm really been trying to do, and in order to get a ramp patch going faster, bulbs was the way to go. So I'm here in the woods. I have a general idea where I want to put them. I have to find a place where it's mostly hardwoods. Again, no conifers. They do not grow under conifer trees. Also, look at the weeds. I mean, the weeds and ferns. So I want to find a place that's semi-bare, because I don't want the weeds to overcompete and win with the ramps. So I'm kind of coming in here. I also need to find a place where our tractor or the 4-wheeler, like nothing is going to come in and disturb my bulbs or seeds. So I'm trying to find a good spot, and I think I have just the right one. They like to have a little dappled sunlight, right? And they need really good organic matter. And I think this is a good place. It's a very slight slope. Okay, I think I've got the perfect spot. It's just this little area right here, dappled in sunlight, really good organic matter. You want a good amount of leaves, because what I'm going to do is kind of move the leaves away, plant the bulbs, and I'm going to plant them in clusters of 12 to 15. And I don't have to water. I just have to really cover it good with the organic matter from the leaves. So let me show you how they shipped. I got these, I got these while I was on a business trip last week, but I think they came Thursday. So we've only had them for 4 days, and you want to try to plant them pretty quickly. So this is how the bulbs came. So you can see there's some really good sizes in there. Lots of roots, and so I want to get as many of those roots in the ground, and you want to leave a tiny bit of the bulb tip peeking out of the ground while then covering it with the leaves. These are the seeds, and you can see here's the farm, Gates Hill Farm, again out of Franklin, Vermont. And these are the seeds. This is a 1/4 ounce of seeds. And so I'm just gonna kind of spread these around as well. And so when I did this last year, I mean, by that point, I just wanted to go home. I was just done because of the bees. And I think you can see me in the video just throwing the seeds and leaving. And I threw them around here, somewhere around here. So who knows if anything will come from them. So we're gonna take a little bit more of a specialized approach for today. Okay, so I've got about maybe 12 or 13. And continue this process. So that way, by also planting them in clumps, my hope is that I will be able to recognize and see them a lot easier, right, as a clump, rather than just individual bulbs strewn about. Just got done doing our second little bunch, working on the third. Look what I found. We got a bone. Marley, you want the bone? You want the bone? Go have fun. Go have fun, go bury it. Yeah, this thing is becoming a game changer. I'm alternating between like bending down and stretching the bejesus out of my hamstrings and squatting and stretching my hip flexors. These bulbs, I have never ordered from this farm before, but I'm very impressed so far. I have no experience with them, not affiliated, but I am actually really impressed with the bulb size and the roots. I have high hopes here. All right, 3 clusters down. The hardest part is remembering where I put them so I don't like trample on them and try to dig them up again. So I'm just kind of starting to work in one direction. All bulbs are planted. I think there was about 105, 106, but I got them all in a good general vicinity. I'm now gonna get my seeds in over here. I wanna make sure I can see where I put them, because at some point I'm gonna come back to this video and be like, where did I plant everything? So this helps me. Once the leaves of the ramp come up and those initial weeks of foraging are kind of over, the plant sends up a flower, and in the flower then produces these really kind of gorgeous obsidian shiny seeds. And then the seeds fall to the ground and then eventually germinate after 1 or 2 winters. So I don't have to actually like dig these and put them under the ground. I'm just gonna move the leaves aside, sprinkle them on, put the leaves back, just as like it would happen in nature. And that is that. So the ramps are done. I'm really excited to come back next spring in about, I don't know, 6-ish months, 5-6-ish months, and show you if anything has come up. We won't be harvesting, but hopefully things come up. All right, let's go back up and check on the mulcher. I can hear he has stopped. Let's go see the progress he's made. Y'all, I'm amazed. I am so excited. We can actually see the forest floor and sunlight. I mean, some of these trees are gonna come out. Like I said, that big pine tree right there is gonna come out. And a lot of these could probably become shiitake logs. But this, wow, wow. And he's only been here for about 2.5 hours. So my husband will absolutely make sure we use our 8 hours worth, because it's a minimum 8 hours to have him out here. And 8 hours is all we want. We want to get as much of this done. He still is kind of working in this area right here. You see how thick that is? That's absolutely how thick all this was. So I am so excited about the progress and to get our fruit trees out here like in the next few weeks. I can already see some spots where I want to put them. I'm just going to kind of put them in wherever I can right now. But huge progress today on the homestead. Lots of exciting things for me at least. Hope it was enjoyable and entertaining for you. I will see you next time. I've got to head home for our Azure pickup. Stay healthy, stay well. Bye-bye.